Hello! Oh, I think we're live. If we're not live, then someone will be telling us, but you won't know this. I'm Graham.
I'm Ali. Hello.
And we are here to talk about Rex Factor, the animated show.
Yes. Now, look, my lovely assistant, Graham, here is wearing one of the T-shirts that, by backing our Kickstarter, you might be able to own. Let's look at, we'll do a lovely twirl. Can you see that? Yeah, that's good. That says Rex Factor, the animated show, funding on Kickstarter. We've had a few people fund the Kickstarter to that level. What level is that? 70.
So you can get £40. You can get a T-shirt. You've got this one, or you've got a magnificent car park king. We've got Richard III in a Jurassic Park style.
That's brilliant.
Appearance, 532 years in the making. It's very appropriate that we're talking today, of course, because today is the anniversary of the Battle of Bosworth, where Richard came to an unfortunate end, but very heroically, the last English king to die in battle.
Mm.
And you, Ali, went to see
I did.
the Battle of Bosworth.
I was there. Do you know who won?
Who was it?
It was the same as ever.
Every year.
Every year it's the same. I don't know why they keep going. They keep putting it on. Sorry, excuse me.
But anyway, as you will no doubt have seen on all our various social media and podcasts, we are raising money to get this animated show pilot funded. We've been raising all through August, and thus far we are at an incredible £11,935.
Whoa! So we need 65.
We need 65 to get to £12,000, and then we need another 3,000 to get to £15,000. But that's actually amazing. We're nearly at 80%. So thank you so much to everybody that has been pledging and donating so far. We're really, really touched.
It's been amazing
support we've had from everybody.
But maybe someone will donate while we're watching this, and it will tick over to
12,000. So if you fancy going for the T-shirt and mugs option for £70, then you will take us over to £12,000.
Actually, if you're that person, we should throw something else in.
We'll throw something in.
Yeah.
Someone will sign a card and send it in.
And you've forgotten the most important bit about £70.
What was that?
You get a little phone call from me.
You get a little phone call from Ali. Ali will be ringing up and saying, thank you very much for supporting us. Well, you may say other things I don't want to, but...
Yeah, I'm going to freestyle it. I'm just going to get a time, because obviously they might be in Australia.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, hello.
Just whenever convenient for you, you just ring up.
Yeah.
Hello. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Good night.
So it's all right. I've got quite a generous phone contract, so we'll have a good old chinwag. Was that a question?
It is a question. This is from Susan, and it says, do you have any ideas as to who will be your next monarch to animate?
Charles II. No.
Well, maybe Charles II. So obviously we're doing Richard III at the moment. Mm-hmm. There he is. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, Charles II.
Well, he's my choice.
He'd be a lot of fun. Obviously, we've got all of the restoration stuff going on. Charles with his funny wig and his spaniels running around his feet,
and there'd be a lot of interesting scenes to animate there with his
some sensory maybe required with Charles. I mean, Henry VIII has got to be a strong contender again. There's quite a lot of action to be going on there. I'm sure that Tim Mouse will be able to do better than Holbein in getting a good image of Henry VIII down. That should be pretty easy.
There's a lot of wives to animate there.
It's a lot of wives. It's got quite a lot to fit into 20 minutes. Henry VIII. Maybe Elizabeth I. Maybe one of the female ones.
No, how about Saxon? Edred sucking his food away. I love
20 minutes of Edred.
or Ayeth rather. That's Scotland.
That is Scotland. Yeah, a good question. Yeah, maybe Charles. We haven't decided yet, but if you've got any strong suggestions who you think would be next, who would particularly suit an animated style, then let us know.
There's so many of them we say in the actual podcasts would make a great film, but they're all going to animate beautifully. I'm sure that would be great. We've got another one.
It's not a question, but Robert says hello.
Hello.
And Hannah says huzzah.
Huzzah indeed.
Huzzah indeed. Oh, and that looks like another question that's coming in. I said that we're actually at Tom's flat, and I said that he should just be down here, just popping up whenever we get a question. Oh, now this is a very good suggestion.
I can't quite read.
This is from Robert, and he asks, what about a Dunstan animated episode, Ali? I mean, you are now a bit of a Dunstan fan, having read the...
I'm not a Dunstan fan. I need to make that absolutely clear. I'm a fan of Con Igboden. And It was magnificent. You know, I love a good Second World War novel. I'm not a fan of Hitler, but oh, I mean, if we got one commissioned, it would make a good. Again, that would animate really well, wouldn't it?
Good life story, doesn't it? Lots
story.
of kings, lots of drama going on.
I mean, sometimes
you get to feature Edred sucking his food, of course.
And Edgar, I'm sorry. But no, that'd be great, actually. I'd be well up for that. But yeah, sometimes, like The Office, the chief protagonist, you know, he's a bit of an idiot. And I think it would make a good go of Dunstan.
Dunstan as portrayed by Ricky Gervais.
That would be a brilliant. Ricky, if you're listening, oh my gosh.
Oh, that's a message about something else.
Huh?
Might be coming through. Also, of course, we do obviously have the Dunstan jingle.
Yeah, yes.
And there is a full-length song version of that, so we could have a Dunstan music video.
That's a great idea.
Dunstan running around.
Okay. Why do we do all of our business planning on podcasts and live in front of people?
I mean, I think Tom's given us free rein to commit, basically, to any of this. Jeremy Hoffman says, hello from America.
Hello from America. Jeremy's on Facebook a lot.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, Jeremy.
As well. Yeah. If you've got a question, Jeremy, do send it in. So, Ali, tell us a bit more about your trip to Bosworth. You went with Tom from Tim Mouse to give them some of these lovely beer mats.
Which you can also get
2 sides
by backing us.
So if you get the mug option for £40, you get to have your choice of mugs and the beer mats.
Something to put them on.
Indeed.
So I went with Tom, with using our new fantastic Rexback camera, and we arrived, did some interviews, met some famous people, interviewed them. I mean, like famous in the history world, but also interviewed some seriously famous people in the form of Henry VII and Richard III. It was just a great day out. They had every single time the cannon went off, I jumped out of my skin. I could not get used to it. I would be hopeless on a battlefield, but it was really good. I mean, seriously, the people that do these reenactments go hard. Like one of the interviews that we'll do, you can see this out there. I'm going to edit the video and have it up before the end of the Kickstarter.
That's a commitment
then. Yeah, we did an interview with one guy all dolled up in his shiny armour, and I said, "How much is a suit of armour then?" Thinking, you know, this guy's probably spent upwards of a few £100 on this. And he said, £20,000.
Wow.
I mean,
he could have funded an animated episode and had money left to spare.
He could.
£20,000.
He could. I mean, I couldn't quite comprehend it. I mean, my interview skills, as you'll see, Graham, are in their infancy. But I reckon I covered my horror at that with great diplomacy, because I just thought, anyway, it all added up to be an incredible display, because this guy who had his 20 grand's worth of armour might have been quite a wealthy man in that he also had a horse with him. And they
cost a bit as well.
They cost a fair penny. So he was one of the quite a few mounted knights that they had there, and I was positioned and behind the Tudor lines, and you saw Richard do his final charge right near us. It was absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I thoroughly recommend it. I'm going next year, and I'm fingers crossed for Richard again. But no, it was fabulous, fabulous. What else did I tell you about? Oh, we met lots of people doing their different musical instruments.
What was sort of
playing it like
living
history stuff. Had a wander around the camps. I mean, it looked like hell, but I mean, a lot of fun to walk around and see it happening. But I was quite content. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a bit like camping these days, I imagine, with a bit more dysentery. Not nice.
And of course, that's one of the reasons why we decided to go for Richard III, because he had this dramatic life story, and Bosworth is such an incredible battle and such an incredible end to it as well. So we thought that would make for quite a good choice, as well as the interesting debate around things like the scandal, the Princess in the Tower, how he became the king. The question of actually, was he actually a pretty good ruler that just got cut off
and then
before he had a chance to...
Yeah, and the propaganda that he suffered.
He then suffers from the Tudors and Shakespeare, of course. We've had another message just come in from Carl Morris, who says, "Hello, guys."
Hello, Carl.
And smiley face. So, hello, Carl.
Carl, it's great because these people chat on Facebook to us sometimes. Is Carl on Twitter too?
Quite possibly. Yes, I think. So Richard and Bosworth makes for an excellent package. You can, of course, get a lovely image of Richard III at Bosworth. That's also, I think, one of the £40 ones. There's a print of Richard III, which I believe you and I will be signing.
Yeah, I've got a. I have coming to me a 5-factor print.
5 factors.
Yes, I do.
That would be very lovely.
Yeah, it looks absolutely lovely.
Oh. Here's another one. This is Sophie Carell, who says, "Hello, hello." There's more hellos than we've had from anybody else so far. So
who can top that?
So, Ali, what do you think is the best prize on offer? I say prize, the best reward on offer.
I would objectively say it is the tour around a castle of someone's choice, which is very, very reasonably pitched.
Yes.
At the top level, but I would absolutely love that. I mean, it is the most expensive option, but it would be really great to meet a Rex fan and have a day out.
I just want to go to a castle with you guiding them, guiding them around. So it's not just they get a chance to go to a castle.
No, I'm the taxi, and I just said, there you go, have fun. No, I just want to go to a castle ground, really, and any excuse, and have a little bit of a pub lunch. Sounds good. Yeah. What about you? What have you been for?
Oh, well, I particularly like I think a really good one, actually, which there's a limited edition of these, is a chance to actually be your own character in the show.
Oh, that is good.
So, presumably you'll send a little photo of yourself to Tim Mouse, and then they will turn you into a cartoon form. So, if you've been, as I'm sure you will have done, you've been onto the website and you've seen a trailer for us, then you see what we look like in cartoon form. And there's a chance for you to have your own cartoon version of yourself. You'll be in the animated show when we make the full pilot, and I imagine you'll get a prominent moment when you're seen on stage. And then you will also get, I think, a print. I think I'm right in saying that. I'm not committing to this. Not being promised. A print of yourself in cartoon form, which would be amazing.
I just thought people that tune into this must like Rex Factor, so I thought we should give them a bit of behind-the-scenes action. Shall we show them this?
Okay.
This is a present that I got made from me and Graham to Tom for Christmas, and I got one to Rob Boyle as well, of Totalius Rankium fame. It's all reversed, isn't it? I'm going the wrong way. Oh, it's like mirrors. I can't.
It says on it.
Why isn't it coming the right? There you go.
And what does it say, Ali?
I wasn't expecting that. But there's I sent a joke picture of myself doing something like this to Rob, I think it was. He came back with that image that we then had put up onto mugs. It's the kind of stuff that goes on here. So when we're trying to make podcasts,
I'm just trying to understand the technology. We just had a selfie come through from
That's
Carl.
Brilliant.
Carl with his mug.
Hey, with his Privy Councillor mug.
Mug.
Good man.
Lovely, thank you.
Good man. This is amazing, this system, isn't it?
Not the world we live in.
Yeah.
So those are some of the ones at the top level. Another really, really cool one is a prop version of Richard III is going to be made. A statuette made by somebody who works on the Clangers kids TV show, which is very famous, certainly in the UK. So an actual a proper 3D model of the Richard III character from our show, which would be an amazing thing to have.
The thing is, I quite want a lot of the things.
I know.
But I imagine if someone came to my house and they saw like my own image on the walls, like going like a king in his palace and seeing all his pictures. But I think I can get away with that little model.
Well, it's of Richard III. It's not of
me.
Of you.
Can we get ones made of us?
I'm sure if we put it,
It's fine.
Get that done easily enough. Now we've got a message coming through here from Mackenzie Walton saying it's so surreal to actually see you two talking. It's quite weird for us as well because we can see it.
Well, what I'm finding weird is that normally when we're podcasting, we've done this again naturally. Like when we're podcasting, yeah, the computers. I'm always this side of the computer.
Yeah.
But it's reversed for these chaps, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why I can get the mic right. But what I find weird, so normally we'll have microphones like this, and I'll just be sitting, we'll be talking to each other.
Quite far away. If we were doing it on the podcast, I'd be kind of over here, and you'd be way over there.
But we'll be looking at each other, and no, I don't know, let's look at you or
look at the screen. It's helpful to look at the screen when people send in messages. Sophie saying ditto on the weird to see us talking in front. I love seeing all your expressions.
Oh, that's good. I'm pleased I wore my best glasses.
Yeah.
And my only jumper.
Yes, I do.
Should have washed the hair though, perhaps.
Well, this is of course the jumper that you're wearing in the animated show.
Yeah.
Whereas I've really dressed well. Obviously, beneath this, I would have on my full suit.
Have you been at work today?
I have been at work today, as you know, because we had the confusion as to how you were going to pick me up.
Yeah, but you weren't in your work clothes.
No, well, that's because I went home and got changed, which is the reason we had the problem.
Clever.
I sent a message to Ali asking him if he could give me a lift, but neglected to mention that because I work quite close to where Ali lives, and I neglected to mention that I've actually gone home. So
we're both waiting for each other at home. I was having a little cup of tea and a couple of slices of toast, and then got a message from Graham saying, "Just to be clear, I am at home." Right, coming. Yeah. That was good.
Right, another question here from Robert, who says, speaking of it being weird to see you talking, have you two ever considered taping a live episode of the podcast?
I have, in that I got us a Periscope account in case we want to do that. But Facebook Live is very popular.
Yeah.
You know that podcast I did the other day with Pete? He did that. He broadcast that using Facebook Live and then edited it and released it as a podcast, which you can find on Facebook.
What's it called?
Upgraded You podcast. And that apparently, Facebook now they're trying to push themselves to be a video content producer, so that's getting better results. If you do a Facebook Live thing or videos, will feature more strongly in their algorithm. I mean, I should tell you this again off screen, and someone can tell us if that's true or not. But sorry.
No, that would be, I think that would be quite an interesting thing to do. I think, as we actually just demonstrated before getting the question, the only downside would be that I'm not sure that we stand in the most appropriate positioning for the video.
Yeah, because
we need to get some kind of like fish lens to put up on the
wall
or something.
Because the wall is actually quite close to us and we're far apart.
Yeah.
We could work that though.
We could work something.
Maybe probably cancellers.
But I think actually, if you are interested in seeing us physically recording a podcast, then the reward that you need to make sure you get is one which includes the making of documentary. Because when we were doing, because we've done audio for the animated show, and so when we did that, we did actually have a camera recorder in the room filming us doing the podcast, which we haven't ever done before.
We did. I can't. When did you say that recently? I completely forgot.
When we did the Kickstarter appeal or something like that.
Yeah.
I mentioned it, and you were like,
I still, because just then I was thinking, did we? And then I remember the reason I remembered you're right is because I remembered that conversation, not the actual event.
Not the actual event.
Oh.
So yeah, so actually that. So if you get the making of documentary, I imagine we'll probably put in some bits of that of us.
So it's really twisted my melon.
In the video, it was Tom's video camera. He came in, left it.
Yes.
And then we did it.
Yeah.
And then we went over to his house to watch it.
Okay.
Listen to it.
But that recording the backstage stuff was really fun because we got everything. It was just we recorded a lot of silly things as well, like to camera pieces and things. It was funny.
Jeremy Hoffman has suggested that when you do the Scottish Rex Factor playoffs, you could film the draw live like the FA Cup.
Yeah. Did we filmed the English draw? Didn't we?
Yeah, so we filmed that on a proper video that we then
put on our YouTube channel.
Put out to the world. But yeah, we could record it live.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy. Good idea.
I suppose the only thing with that, of course, is nothing goes hideously wrong.
They can see our scripted work. We're so slick.
Well, they see the bit where two people got put in the same drawer and we think, oh no, no.
Edward the First is not. Oh, it's not Edward anymore, is it?
It's not Edward. I mean, arguably, you know, obviously he did kind of claim the throne. Well, he didn't claim the throne. The problem is he just took the country.
Yeah, are we going to include it?
Can we put him in as a wild
card? Yeah.
Edward the First.
Well, that's great news. Yes, you saw me through on a technicality.
Oh, and Mike is saying something visually Dunstan related coming soon. I don't know if that means that we need to stall and give him time, or if he means like tomorrow.
Yeah, or he's going to send us some sort of voodoo Dunstan doll that I can use. Speaking of Dunstan, I found your. I know we're meant to be promoting the Kickstarter here, but it's just nice to have catch up.
See each other.
I found your note.
Oh, the note that went with the Dunstan doll.
I think it's
that you didn't notice for like 2 months.
No, yeah, I found it on the bookcase.
Oh, in the coming week.
In the coming week. Okay,
go to speed up, Mike. Come on.
And it said, I read it today. We literally today found it. What was it? You can never escape Dunstan. Well, Dunstan is always with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I mean, that would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah. Just this random
appearing. Yeah.
This random thing. Mike says sorry. I was only joking.
Yeah.
The great thing about this, so I left a doll for Ali on St. Dunstan's Day, and I put it on the top of his shelf, and just didn't notice. Just accepted it as part of the household. But now, apparently, it's
one of Ree's favourites.
Yes, but the reason I left the note was because I thought, just in case you aren't sure what this is and you did miss the fact that it's age 3+, I don't tell you that it's not a toy.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
you haven't taken that out.
I haven't taken that out of the thing because it very prominently says 3+ on it, and it has some quite tasty-looking little. Well, I don't know what they carry. Little bloody pouch of magic herbs, I don't know, money, I don't know, but he's got a little pouch on him, and yeah, Ree would love to eat that. So he's staying in his packet, presumably because, like Star Wars toys, he's going to be worth a
value. He's going to be, exactly.
Yeah, when the Carnegie book comes out.
Yes.
He wrote something else I noticed recently.
He's written quite a few books
that I liked though, and I didn't realise it was the same person.
Wars of the Roses.
Could have been. Oh yeah, it was because I was looking for another audiobook. Yes, yeah.
Oh, now we've had another selfie come through. Let's have a little look-see.
Who's that?
Oh, it's Carl again, but this is now a little one.
Oh, well done. Oh, that's quality.
That's lovely.
Brilliant. Brilliant. It's so nice to be able to. Actually, this is really fun because it's normally we just sort of throw stuff into the abyss.
That's Carl's son James. Hello, James.
Hello, James. Yeah, now we do this bit interactive. It's nice. I really enjoyed doing those interviews, Graham. I must warn you, it was. I feel like chopping a bit to do it now. Yeah. One of them, when I was doing I don't want to give too much away, but for those who have tuned in to this, at the end when I was interviewing Henry and Richard, it's such a swanky camera, and you know all the gear with a little shotgun mic coming out the front. But I had a mic that looked like it was plugged in because I was doing it like that, like a regular mic, just because I did it like a post-match interview, and they were the losing or winning managers. It was so much fun. They really got into the role when I said, look, we just thought we'd do this, and they totally ran with it. Brilliant.
Just check, did have an actual mic attached.
I did have an actual mic attached. If not, then we'll have to just pretend.
Oh, and I think we're completing the family selfies there. There's another one.
Oh, there's another. Hello. Who's that one?
We'll find out.
That's
Sarah.
Hello, Sarah. Oh, fun. How fun.
Shall we see if anybody has donated any more money?
Yeah, you've got the paid up. But I am, this 70 quid level, I am really looking forward to calling people, because things like this and doing interviews, I think it's going to be fun.
And the other thing, of course, if you go for one of the more expensive ones, you get
everything that came before.
Things which come beneath it. So if you've got one and you think, well, actually, one of the one that's looking above looks quite nice, you can
upgrade.
Always upgrade if you so feel.
We've had a couple of upgrades, haven't we?
We have.
We're very, very generous of them.
Still an opportunity for someone to take us over into the 12,000.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it'd be great, but I do worry what we might commit tin miles to. I was joking with Tom before we came out. I said, look, if someone pushes us over 12 grand, we can promise them your car. So, you know, who knows what we end up with? Signed by us as well. So we'll deface his car and then flog it.
Yeah, and I think it's a suitable car we could get quite easily get our names.
Well.
Is there anything else you feel we should be telling people about the animated shows? Yes. Everything. I wasn't necessarily prompting you. I was just genuine.
I suppose also we should say if you have donated and or backed us rather, and so you're thinking, oh, I've done that. I'm so bored of all their Facebook posts and tweets and everything. Sorry, you know,
no,
it's only for another 10 days or something.
Yes. So it's one of those unfortunate things actually, where if it seems like this is getting in the way of us doing other podcasts, it's actually just coincidence of timing really, because the James IV episode, the most recent one, which was one of our favourite ones, I think. Really enjoyed. But that took quite a bit of work, and then Ali went on holiday, and then I went on holiday,
Italy,
and then it wasn't until I came back that we were actually able to record it. So and then it was a really long. It was, I think, one of the longest episodes we've done in this series. It was nearly 2 hours. So
can I show them what you got me from Italy?
Oh, yes, you can. So it took quite a while to edit. So that's why it took us a while to get that done. So actually, we've not been unduly delayed, and we're going to be returning soon with the Vikings in Ireland as a special episode, and then James V. So we're going to be back into the normal podcast. Ali, what did I get you?
What a lucky boy! Some limoncello. That straight from Italy, from Graham to me.
From Limone.
Yeah.
We're going to make the lemons.
So it's lovely lemon squash you got Rupert for me.
Indeed, yes. Just give him a little shot of that to send him to sleep at night. Now, a couple of questions coming in now. First of all, we've got one from Andy Scott. By the holy face of Luca. Howdy, chaps. If you make more animated shows after Richard, would they also be crowdfunded or a set price like the premium episodes?
Well, what we're trying to do, we'll get this one made, and then hopefully we can sort of maybe see who likes it, see who picks it up.
Yeah, so initially the priority is just getting it made. So once we get the money for this, Tim Mouse will then be able to go away and, as I said in our video at the start, get some people involved to help out to actually make it, because it's going to be quite a big job, because it's sort of a 20-minute.
Yeah, it's long for animation
recording and stuff. So they've done an awful lot of work already in terms of storyboarding and character designs and lots of great ideas with some visual jokes and things like that. But they'll get it made. So I guess we're talking a little way off. But yeah, I mean, it would be lovely, really, if somebody wanted to actually, just pay us to have a whole series of it. Would be fantastic. So we'll see what comes. I think.
That's But those who backed us will forever be grateful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, another question. Another one. Oh dear. Technology. Some Sophie Carell. Carol. How long does it take you, brackets Graham, to research each of the episodes, excluding hashtag remember Ith, of course?
Well, how long did I take, actually? I'd like to know that.
Now, this is fun. We just found out Karina Stuberak has just become backer 224.
Wow.
It might have taken us over the that 12,000 thing. We'll find out.
Yeah.
How long does it take to research an episode? It does depend, though, like you've intimated, the hashtag Remember Ith episode wasn't necessarily one of the most research intensive.
But did you do a lot of research trying to find any content at all on that one?
Yeah. But there was only so much that you had. But it becomes more intensive as the series gets towards more modern monarch. So early on, you were just talking about maybe a few paragraphs or a few pages at most, a chapter in a book. Whereas you get to a point where you actually have a book entirely about one monarch, and that's when you start to require a bit more work. So the James IV, the one we've done most recently, there's a proper biography about him.
there are academic books that have quite long sections about him and his reign.
Well, and how long do you reckon? You spent at least 3 weeks, 4 weeks on it, didn't you?
Yeah, it's probably something like that. It's not full time, but it's probably equivalent to part-time job.
Yeah,
hours,
it's like
I suppose.
I mean, this started as a hobby, didn't it?
Hmm.
So I mean, that's what you did outside of work.
Yeah,
is that sort of commitment.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's a good number of hours, I suppose, for a James V, James IV or James V episode. I suppose Victoria was probably a full-time job.
it was a full-time job listening to it.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
That's a lot of stuff there. But I find it interesting actually because he was. I was thinking about this the other day, because actually the early episodes was quite useful for the Scottish series because you went on a sort of round the world holiday. But because of that, because the early Scots, there wasn't a lot of information. I was able to do quite a bit of research. So we actually recorded a chunk of episodes before you went away. So we obviously staggered the releases to.
We did try doing a one over Skype, didn't we? Because I was in London at the time as well. Didn't go well.
Well, you actually, I think you're at your parents, which
for that one,
which is why it didn't work.
Oh, that's terrible.
The internet was so bad.
Yeah.
We got about 5 minutes in, you only heard about half of what I said.
Hello from Britain. You must do. He does do a lot of research though, Sophie, because before Graham went away to Italy, I met up with him and he said, "Do you mind taking some books back to the library for me?" I said, "Oh no, that's all right." It's all great. They were in the van for a while. Did you get any fines?
Yes.
You did? Sugar. I was...
I should have said, because I meant to take them back before going on holiday, because I knew that the date was coming up.
Oh, right, yeah. It took
That's
about
why I gave
3
them to
days.
you, so I thought, well,
how much do I do?
Oh, no, sorry. It was less than, obviously, if I just kept them myself. And
yeah, but if I'd have put them in that day...
No, it's like, yeah, you just do.
How much are library fines, just out of interest?
Well, they have gone up a little bit recently, yeah. But it's not too excessive. Now we have gone up now to £11,975.
You're kidding me?
£25 off the £12,000 mark.
Come on, someone can do it. Someone becomes that £12,000 backer. That'd be fantastic if you're on there.
Sophie has messaged in to say that it's pronounced like Carol surname, so I said Carol.
Carol.
Like Carol.
Oh, like Christmas.
Like Christmas.
Sophie Christmas.
Anyway, so thank you very much, the person who
Cassie
took it a little bit closer. Yeah, that's very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not usually very good with names. I'm surprised I remembered that. Yeah, but at Bosworth, what was really helpful was that the people that I interviewed, one of them was holding a book that she'd written, and I just managed to glance at the title, her name on that. So I said, "We're here with can't remember her name now."
Yeah.
And then some of the other people were just wearing name tags. So that was my one real concern, is that I forget their names and say,
well, I know, I was glad when we did, first time we used our camera, we went to the Cussie Sark.
I've got to edit that as well.
And spoke to the curator there and interviewed her. Now, I haven't had any contacts with her. You've done the contact stuff. So just before we started videoing, I said, "Oh, can we get your full name so that I can say..."
Is that why you did that?
Yeah, so that I can say we're here with. But I was happy that I was able to do that because it was okay that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought it would be awkward for you if you were going to do it. So we're with the curator.
Exactly.
Who is here.
Yeah. And maybe you'd like to introduce yourself to the camera. Yeah, that's it. Or if you're at a party or something, you've said to a friend, "Tom, I'm not sure if you've met before." Anyway, I'm just off to you can do that.
I remember having that once when, for the life of me, I couldn't remember this person's name. And usually you don't have to introduce, you just sort of come along. But then the person whose name I did know was saying, "And you're not introducing me," and I had to do this extended skit of, I'm sorry, am I being a bad host? And made a real dance about it. So the person thought I was just speaking to you and, don't mind him, I'm da-da-da. And I was like, yes.
Oh God! Oh, that made me feel sick to my toes. That's horrible. It's like that scene in Extras where Ricky Gervais' character has to sign the makeup artist's headshot of him, and he's going just wondering what to put. Oh, I love it. Graham, look what I've got.
What's that?
I'm not sure if you've mentioned this. Oh, it's another one. You see, we've got. If you're worried,
more than one of these.
If you're worried that there's only one, don't be.
Yeah,
we've got at least 2.
These aren't the only 2. There are plenty more that you can sign yourself up for.
I want to get a car park one. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Plenty of people at the at Bosworth were buying Bosworth like Richard III merchandise.
Mm.
None of them had the car park, Jurassic Park stuff. So I mean, all this is all unique gear.
Exactly, it's all very, very cool.
Yeah. So what we're waiting for? £25.
£25. I don't know how long we're gonna. We may.
What time is it? Should we give it till? How long have we been on? 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's give it 5 minutes.
Yeah, another 5 minutes. See if we can snap.
Tell you what, if we do it, we'll stay on for another 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we've got. Oh, I was going to say we had 29 people. It's just gone down to 20. Like we're at 27 now.
Well,
we went back up to 28. There's a lucky thing there. So we've got a few. We've got some people watching. So if you want to help us stay on for another 5 minutes, send in a question.
When you're looking at
keep
this,
us going.
Sorry, forget this.
Are we recording this
live? You say. When you're doing, I'm trying not to look at it. Are you looking at the camera, or are you looking at me, or are you looking at you, or are you looking at me?
Sometimes I've been looking at you. Sometimes I've been looking at the messages along the side just to keep track. Sometimes I try and look at the camera. Probably a lot of the time I'm looking sort of here.
Right.
Which isn't where everybody else's eyes are. Like in selfies, you know,
I am
see
hopeless
people looking at the image rather than the little
camera
bit.
When we've been doing Skype with Rob, I found that you just end up sort of looking at the person. So to the other person, your eyes are always down there.
Mm.
Yeah.
They should change it like that. Like when you're doing the news or something, they have the prompter is in such a place that it looks like you're
see-through thing.
Yeah, so you should have that for the camera. It should.
Yeah, don't mix this idea. This is Graham's idea.
Yeah,
it's a trademark that.
Now, I had a message from Luke Foster.
Hello, Luke.
After going to Bosworth and all the stuff since the podcast was released, would you change your Richard III decision? So would we go back? So in the original podcast, we gave some high points of Scandal.
Totally did.
Pretty decent for backliness.
Yeah, he deserves it.
But I'm just checking to see whether that's Tom sending me some kind of message. No, it's fine. But he didn't in the original episode get the Rat Factor. So having been at Bosworth, having seen the living people, having seen him charging at Henry Tudor, would you go back on the decision?
Oh, Graham, what a can of worms are you asking me to open here?
Or just lose one out.
I would say that having seen the fair and seen the charge, I would certainly, if I could, give him more battliness score.
Mm-hmm.
That, in turn, might change the whole nature of his scores.
We couldn't possibly know until we put it through. It's funny because we spent a lot of time with Richard now through doing this, that in a way he's become more...
I'm more fond of him now.
Starry, because he's a new thing almost now. He's this character, which obviously, you know, this is now Richard III for us, this little guy, who you could, of course, get a 3D statuette of. Should be a marvellous prize.
That's true. I know. Whenever I think of it, I do think of them more like that.
Yeah, this is our guy. So this guy, this chap here, I feel, this is so he's awesome. He's so brilliant. Look at him. But yeah, I don't know. He's a bit. It's like we've had some messages recently about a few people. Interestingly, it's one of those where you get messages from people that have listened to the series recently, even though we did the episode years ago.
Yeah.
So we've had a few messages about Harold II, who was the Saxon king who famously got the arrow in the eye at Hastings in 1066. And a few messages from people saying, "Oh, how did you not give him the Rex Factor? He stormed up to Stamford, he beat Harold Hardrada, came all the way down again, this incredible..."
It was good, wasn't it? We were close. I remember it being really...
We were close. I think it's tricky when they lose the big battle. Certainly in the English series. I think maybe in the Scottish series there was Constantine II who lost to Athelstan.
James IV.
James IV who lost Flodden, but I suppose in the context of their reigns, maybe it wasn't as important, whereas maybe for Harold, maybe for Richard, it's so important to win.
Well, the dynasty changes.
Yeah, and I think, for both those, so James IV in Scotland, his son became king. He'd been king for 25 years already, and it was just...
He would have got the Rex Factor without the loss.
Yeah, without that battle, whereas Harold II, he'd only been king for a few months. Richard had only been king for a couple of years. You feel like they needed this big battle, which probably would have won them the Rex Factor by winning the battle. And then both of them, I think, showed definitely very strong leader and a potentially very good king. To losing Hastings for Harold is maybe a bit too big of a...
It's a bit too big of a deal because that's what he's known for. I mean, people can love the character, but if he is known as a loser in the sense of he's known for losing a battle, it's tricky then.
I suppose ironically, of course, having said that, we didn't give the Rex Factor to Henry VII. He won the Battle of Bosworth. But I suppose that's because Henry VII didn't feel like he won the battle. It was more that he was the leader his generals won, whereas Richard III was actually properly in the thick of the fighting.
Yeah.
So if Richard had won the battle, it would have been because he won it himself, because of his leadership, his bravery. So I think that would have earned him the Rex Factor.
And the rest of Henry's reign, although effective...
And we did have Henry VII supporters who were upset that he didn't get the Rex Factor.
Yeah. So at least we're fair. At least we can. The rest of Henry's reign was effective and good and stable. So that was his whole thing, but it wasn't Rex Factory.
The difficult thing with Richard as well is it's funny when you do the reviewing him and you're thinking, right, let's divorce the Shakespeare aspect of him, let's get rid of that bit and then just consider him on his own terms. I mean, it's really hard to get away from the sense that he is a starry monarch. Partly that is that you can't remove yourself from the fact that Richard III is a big deal, partly because of the Shakespeare play, which is ironic because obviously it's the awful things about him, but it sort of imprints on you this sense of this aura, like Macbeth in Scotland. Yeah,
or if Henry V hadn't had a play where he does a magnificent speech, how would we think of him then? Might not be quite so well known or quite so positively thought of Henry Mark V. Henry Mark V. Getting ahead of myself. I was going to animate a little Henry Mark V.
I add that to the list.
Oh dear.
But no, it's a good question. I think in a shorter answer to that, I think it probably has made him a stronger presence and has made us appreciate the starry elements because we've had to sort of condense it. Good, thank you, Mike.
Mike Foster added. Good, thanks, Mike. Yeah, excellent. So come on, 20. What are we at? We're gonna have to. We've got 2 minutes. 2 minutes to go. Is that 2 minutes? Can't read down here. 2 minutes.
There's a clock, we should say, just above us.
There is actually a clock on the screen as well.
There is a clock on the screen, yes.
Hang on. Sorry, Tom, I'm doing your fiddling with your computer. There you go. What are you doing this weekend?
I'm probably going to be doing notes for the Rex Factor special episode on the Vikings in Ireland.
Do you know what I'm doing?
What are you doing?
I'm going to Castle Headingham because some of the people at Bosworth were there, and I'm going to augment some of the shots with them.
Now, I don't know if this is an offer from Carl or just a generic question, but Carl says, would either of you like to be king?
Yeah, and do you know what I do? Ban straight away those noisy exhaust pipes. They do my head in. I live quite near a main road, and people always zoom off the junction using this big, loud exhaust pipe.
Well, what's the point? We do the podcast. We're literally on the main road.
Oh yeah.
Zooming past.
Yeah, I banned the exhaust pipe so we could do some decent podcasting. Because we're going to hopefully open a studio. What do I mean? Hopefully, we're going to make a space in where I live, so we can podcast in 2 places. And so we need less loud exhaust pipes.
Jeremy Hoffman says vuvuzelas.
Vuvuzelas from the 2010 World
You
Cup.
can't ban vuvuzelas. They were quite irritating.
They were pretty, yeah.
Because you couldn't hear the crowd.
That was really annoying. Yeah, the 2010 World Cup. I watched some of that with you, I think.
Quite possibly.
That was when we went out the group stages.
That was, in fact, that would have been literally just before Rex Factor started.
Yeah, June of that year.
2010, and Rex Factor was in August.
Was it June the World Cup?
Yeah, it's usually June, July, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that would have been
just before.
Just before. We probably would talk in discussion.
We were probably actually watching it together, discussing it.
Yeah.
How interesting. Yeah, we went out the group stage, didn't we? Like we did the Euros and the other times before. Yeah.
Now, Luke Foster, is there a plan for when all the British monarchs are finished? So, yes, obviously in the first series of the podcast, we reviewed all the Kings and Queens of England. Second series, we are doing the Kings and Queens of Scotland, and we're very near the end. We've only got 3 more to go, because we're going to stop when we get to James VI, who's the crossover. Between the
Are we going to do him again?
We are going to do him again, but we'll focus predominantly on him as King of Scots. I think.
Right,
Certainly
okay,
the biography.
yeah.
We'll include the stuff that he does after, because he is still King of Scots after he becomes King of England.
He might be the only one that has 2 episodes. Isn't he?
He will.
Well, apart from Victoria.
We had 5. George III had 2 episodes.
Because the bloody recording stopped. Oh, no, that was George I.
No, George V.
I would have got there eventually. George VII. Oh.
Actually, George VI had 2 episodes, and the Queen had 3.
Okay, so not true at all then.
James VI was the only one that we actually reviewed twice.
So who did the recordings for that one? George the...
Stephen,
George
V. Yeah. And the Privy Chamber recording for one of the Scots, one of the more recent Scots.
But we...
that wasn't a recording failed, yeah.
Power cut,
and it's a desktop, so it just went...
But we ended up naming Graham's computers after the failures. So the first computer that we used was Stephen, because that was the one that Stephen failed, and then we upgraded computer, and that was George, wasn't it? That was your dad's MacBook Air, wasn't it?
Well, no, we used my dad's MacBook Air to... we were using it as a back because we were so paranoid after the thing went wrong.
We had 2 running at the same time
with
once.
the microphone.
Yeah.
Was the problem. So we had a MacBook Air which had an OK microphone on its own, because my MacBook was quite old at that point, recording as a backup in case the microphone broke.
God, the quality of our sound is so much better now. We were actually willing to put out just an inbuilt mic level.
I mean, that was just a backup in case we couldn't face having to re-record another episode.
But thanks to our Privy Councillors, we've got excellent mics now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but the question, we haven't answered the question, which was what happens after the Scots. And yeah, so Luke Foster says, who will you rate next? Jeremy Hoffman says, and all those Victoria Prime Minister episodes. Yes, I mean, we have talked about this. We have talked about this. But are we keeping it? I've sort of been like in individual correspondence, been saying, "Oh, we'll probably do this next," but we haven't.
I've sort of been waiting for an announcement.
Yeah,
but why
we haven't
not now?
Officially announced it. Well, I guess because it's only, it's the best 27 listeners that we have who are tuning in now. So I suppose it's not a massive announcement. So the next one we're planning to do is the Queen and Prince Consorts of England. So we'll be going back in terms of the years covered to our first series. So Alfred the Great to Elizabeth II, what we did before. So this time,
I'm looking forward to Philip.
Yeah, exactly. So it will be Alfred's Queen, whose name temporarily escaped me, to Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. And Sophie says, "Yay, Regina Factor." So yeah, Regina Monologues is the.
Excellent. Oh yeah, no, because the first series was Rex Factor, obviously the pun on X Factor, but we thought we'd keep Rex Factor just to keep keep it all the same. But we were privately working on some excellent puns for the Scottish one. My personal favourite being Max Factor.
Yeah.
Like because Max.
Yeah.
And Scotland.
Yeah, that one was less good. Less of a pun.
Yeah, Max Factor. I think that's hilarious. Because of makeup.
So we've got some. Mackenzie Walter saying, "Ooh, I'm excited." Carl Morris says, "Brilliant." Luke Foster says, "Bloody brilliant." And Robert says, "Wow, breaking news." Yeah.
Breaking news.
First to find out.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that because there's aside from the usual accidental catchphrases that come out like this should be a film.
Yeah.
There are so many times that we say that the Queen Consort deserve their own episode,
and so we often did sort of try to feature them a bit in the main series. But yeah, so this will be a chance to properly go into them. And it's one of the interesting things I think actually is, we've done the history of England really through the monarchs, and in one sense we'll be doing it again, but actually a lot of them are foreign princesses. So it's also potentially a chance to get a look, and depending on how much information is available, look into the bit before they become Queen of England and they're actually a princess in France and Spain, or some duchy somewhere or other. So you get a little bit more of the European aspect and the difference that they come and bring.
Yeah, and it's nice to address about it because so much of history is sort of told through these predominantly male eyes. But a lot of those queens were the driving force behind a lot of those men. We need to give them their proper place in history.
So yeah, as Luke Foster just says, Isabella of France will be incredible. She certainly will. That's Edward II's wife. Eleanor of Aquitaine, obviously.
Yeah, massive.
Looking forward to her. 6 Wives of Henry VIII.
Oh yeah,
huge
mini
interest, I imagine,
series
for them. Yeah,
yeah.
As much, if not more, interest to a lot of people than Henry VIII himself. Sophie says that Catherine Aragon is her favourite. Yeah.
Do you know what? Can I? Whenever I'm watching the news, apart from when they're doing the standing up,
I think it'd be better if it was like this. You just going, oh, and someone's just yeah.
Donald Trump says that's not true. No, but always when they're sitting by the desk, sometimes they do standing up now. There's the old joke of are they wearing any trousers? Because you'll never know. They can see our trousers here, but there's my shoes. I always wonder what
pretty
shoes
snazzy, aren't they?
Snazzy.
Not wearing any.
Yeah. Oh yes, you see, we're at someone else's house. I should have taken them
So
off.
rude. So rude.
Yeah. Whoops. Sorry, Tom.
Robert says, I'm predicting the English X Factor winner overall winner's wife will be the season 3 overall winner.
Oh, Eleanor. Yeah.
I liked it, and you forgot that I complimented on you on this once, and then you forgot about it when I gave you the compliment that you dubbed them as a power couple, Eleanor.
Did I?
You did, which I think works quite nicely.
So do I.
Yeah. That's what I think. No memory.
No idea at all. Eleanor. Very good.
Yeah, strong favourite, I think, Eleanor. For a lot of people.
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure she's going to win that.
But the Tudor wives definitely have, particularly Catherine and Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn definitely have very strong adherents.
Or Edward's Eleanor, Castile.
Well, this was
all the older boys in that whole episode. The romance.
Yeah.
Mary.
And the crosses.
Yes, the crosses. We're getting all carried away here. The Kickstarter. The Kickstarter. Yeah, yeah. This is the most we've talked about that, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a WhatsApp message.
Oh right, sorry. Okay, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Kickstarter. What's that? Mackenzie Wilton. Don't forget Sour Old Albert. That's true, because there are some male consorts, so we'll be doing them as well. Albert. Well, I suppose he's a contender.
Really?
Well, he does a lot, does Albert?
He brings back Christmas trees.
Well, he doesn't bring them back, so that's just
introduce them. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, technically, it was George III's wife, Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, that first introduced them.
Rex Facts.
But it's Albert that makes it a big thing. No, Albert does a lot. He'll be a big one with Albert.
I'm just really, really concerned about that whole era.
The thing with Albert you've got to remember is that he dies halfway through.
Yes.
So there won't be all of that.
Yeah.
Bit of Victoria.
That's very true.
Yeah. And he doesn't write anywhere near as much as Victoria writes. She's the one that writes every possible thought she had, whereas Albert sort of writes, I'm feeling tired now.
Yeah. She's upstairs writing her diary, so I've got 5 minutes. So, is that another question?
No, that's Jeremy Hoffman saying that needs more according to Victoria's diary. See, it depends. I might try to keep it to Albert's voice more
Oh, everyone loves your Victoria.
Or we could do an entire episode of Victoria's grief over Albert. Do you like that?
No. I would hate that. I would hate that. What are you talking about, man?
Luke Foster said, does this mean we will get our first Rex fact of a foreign monarch with Philip II of Spain? Now, yes, technically, Philip II of Spain, we should have done in the first series of Rex Factor, because actually he was titled king along with Mary. But nobody, including really people at the time, actually really kind of let that count.
Spain on the throne.
Yeah, but I think it would be quite fun to review Philip II as part of the Regina Factor. I think that'd be.
Yeah. Well, he's married to her.
He is.
That's got to happen.
And he's going to have some pretty big battliness to deal with.
There's the scoring's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Well, we will. Yeah, that'll be the other thing. I think maybe we'll do rather than do a backgroundy stuff episode, because obviously we've done English backgroundy stuff, and we probably don't necessarily need to go over that again. But maybe we'll have to do one where we certain aspects that we'll have to approach differently in terms of scoring, because consort is a different role to a king.
Maybe that's the first episode. That sort of clarification.
Yeah, because whereas the English and the Scots, there's a certain, I guess, difference in terms of how we approach expectations around what can be achieved in battliness, because Scotland's a much smaller and less wealthy nation than England was in the same periods. But the consort has a very different role to the monarch, so I guess we will have to have a slightly different approach.
I mean, I guess the what was called the patiometer and is now the ediometer helps with that, in that you know what the top score is, so then you can factor down. But we've got to. It is going to be
for battliness.
But for Queen Consorts, Scandal. I mean, Scandal's going to be amazing.
Scandal's still there. But yeah, so we'll. I've been thinking about all of these, so we won't go into that now. But yeah, we'll have to think about slightly different things. Sophie says, I think you should give the Queen's points for all children born / known pregnancies, not just children that outlive them. And yes,
that's a good point.
Dynasty, I have thought about longevity, and I've thought about dynasty, and I've thought about a way to acknowledge the fact that they are different to the monarch. So I think still an idiometer, but got maybe different ideas as to how they get credited points. And maybe it'd be a bit more, well, generous is the wrong word, but I think there should be a slightly different way of doing it to acknowledge the fact that the consort has a different role to the monarch, and thus have you got any glasses? Things going on? No, but you have asked me this in a previous recording.
Just keep looking.
It's newer than they used to be.
Right.
Newer than the ones that I would have had for most of the time that you've known me, but not since the last time you asked me if I'm having glasses. Which in itself, I don't think was the first time you'd asked me if I had any glasses.
Okay, I never noticed their Ray-Bans before.
Yeah. But yes, we're talking about all the podcast stuff, which is absolutely fine. If you want to ask us any more questions about the regular podcast, feel free, because we're here. But we're also, of course, here to talk about the animated show,
which only needs £25 more to get to 12,000, and then we've got something like 8 days to make the last 3.
Yeah, so I think we're actually ahead in terms of the sort of recommended schedule of where to go. So we've been doing really, really well. So we're so pleased.
I'm over the moon. Honestly, I cannot believe it. I was really worried that the enthusiasm for Rex Factor was sort of just mainly chances based in 3 specific nodes: your house, my house, and Tom's. But it really does appear like people are behind it. I mean, I know that from Facebook, but it's really so nice to have your support. Well, your support behind us, and you know that we're going to make a real go of it. Put your money behind us is great.
So to get ourselves on message, which maybe we should have gone straight in with at the start, 2 ways obviously that you can help. One, of course, is to donate to the Kickstarter. Look at all the rewards. We've been talking about them, but there are various other ones, from the very, very top to Valley of the Castle, right down to just sort of desktop backgrounds on your phone and computer, the mugs with these lovely beer mats, t-shirts, a special print of the Battle of Bosworth, a hand-drawn sketch by Mike and Tim House, which would be very, very cool. The 5 prints that Ali mentioned, prints as in a T.
5 prints in the tower.
Hey.
But all of them above £70, you get a little knock at the door? No, don't worry. You don't get a knock at the door. You get a little ring ring.
Taken away. If you make the mistake of signing up,
yeah, you get a knock at the door. Here I say, Ali's here. Come on, come to do your history lesson. Yeah.
But no, so anybody that has donated, thank you so much. That's absolutely brilliant. The other way that you can help, if you haven't donated but you're watching this, then hopefully this will in some way encourage you to do so. But please do. Every little really does help. We're getting so close to actually reaching that target. As Ali said, we've got just over a week. So if you do donate, however much, that'll be a big help. And the final thing you can do, which really, really helps, is to share this with your friends, with your family. Just generally posting either on sort of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're on, emailing or texting or whatever to people that you know that you think might sign up for it.
Share our page. Who do you think on Twitter would like it? Some famous historian. Tweet them our link. That would be really helpful.
Just the more people that know about it, you know, it increases the likelihood that one of those will be interested in and put a bit of money in, and then that gets us that bit closer to the top. Target.
I mean, everyone's been really great at sharing the car park image. And that's been, now as a result of people sharing it, it's been seen by, I imagine when I checked after this, about 30,000 people. So it really does make an awfully big difference. We've got another one.
No, I was just checking. So I think that's probably about us. About us done. Thank you.
Any last minute questions? It's 10. Oh, can't. 9, 8, 7, 6. The hand looks massive.
It does. It really does.
Look at that. Yeah. 4. It's like 3. Never used the computer for. 2. Oh! Ah! 2, 1. Bye.
That was Luke saying thanks, chaps. That was great. Thank you, Luke. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
thanks everybody that's messaged in. And yes, please support the show and tell your friends about the show.
Yeah, you guys are great. Thank you very, very much.
No worries, is it?
I've loved it. I tell you what, I can't remember who asked it. We should Periscope an episode. Privy Councillors, you are marvellous.
So thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Oh, it's Mike Hammock.
Hello, Mike.
Mike.
He says, best of luck, chaps. No, fellows. Oh, and Sophie said you should do, having said goodbye, you should do this more often, although it would be nicer for us in the US to be later.
But Mike was very generous, wasn't he?
Very generous.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Thank you, everybody. I imagine, actually, the problem is people who are in this are already
donating.
Because
they're legends.
Because you're legends. So thank you very much to all of you. You're all obviously great. And yeah, Sophie will look at seeing if we can do a time that would be more beneficial for different time zones.
I've just noticed my shadow on my jumper. Look at the size of my nose. That's amazing. Look, I can put, you can see what, all right, I can do this all night. Okay, how do I stop this? This is like trying to end a Skype call where everyone's really awkward. They go, bye.
Bye, Carl. Bye, everybody. Thank you for